What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. What I have here for dinner tonight for you is one of the easiest ways to cook chicken. Nice and buttered, salt and pepper. Nothing fancy, nothing schmancy, yet delicious. I've worked as a cook for many years, and I have to say it's probably sorry, I'm looking for something to watch here. This is probably the best way, the simplest way. Like, really, you don't need a lot of stuff to have good food. Now, does it make it more appealing some days? Sure. However, sometimes I just want nice, simple, quick, painless.
It's bad. It's really bad. And everyone trusts them. They don't put their thumb on the scale. They just want to tell you what's real.
And the butter chicken, I mean, well,
the race has been very static.
I use like,
where does the race really stand? They say our new national average.
Wow, that is an absolute brain fart.
Okay, we looked at national polls, a curated
margarine, but butter, margarine, same difference, I suppose.
Or bipartisan pollsters that we consider
more or less.
Three initial takeaways. It's been a remarkably stable race, but Biden's post-debate dip represents the biggest polling shift we've seen all year. In 2016, polls between Hillary and Trump gyrated wildly, depending on the news cycle. And they go through some of the history. By contrast, the 2024 race has been locked in an exceedingly narrow trading range, with few and fleeting drifts from the default of 46-45 Trump. They say this is mostly because they're both universally known. However, Trump's current lead is now 47-44, so he's up 3 in the wake of the debate.
Within the margins.
They say as small a drop for Biden as it may seem, it's the most drastic shift we've seen in the race all year, and it appears to be driven almost entirely by independent voters. On June 27, Trump led with independents, 46-44 in our average, they say, by 2 points. Today he leads by 6 points. So it was 2, now it's 6. Most of the partisans have barely moved. All the movement's been amongst the independents. Then they go through the black and Latino voters. They say Trump's current numbers with blacks and Latinos
your boy is an independent voter.
With any plausible Democratic victory scenario.
Non-affiliated. Never have been. Never will be.
July 2020. The forecast was Biden was 75 points ahead with black voters. The final was Biden was 75 points ahead of Trump with black voters. Now, the forecast is Biden's 50 points ahead with black voters. Just the forecast, which they got right the last time, is 25 points lower with blacks. When they talk about Latinos, last time around, Latinos, there was they forecast a 28-point Biden advantage.
I can't go over how good this turned out, honestly.
33-point Biden advantage.
It's been a while.
Right now, what are they forecasting with Latino voters? A 7-point Latino advantage.
So good.
Yet another massive fire. Then they spend some time on younger voters. They say Biden's numbers with this group were tepid.
You gotta realize, like, the amount of food I have in my bowl, easily for 2 people. I'm not gonna, like I said,
18 to 29-year-olds.
nothing massively crazy as far as food, like caloric intake.
Last time around, he won young voters by 24 points.
I still eat more food,
for Biden, it's his
but one person's food
hasn't moved very much. At the beginning of February, he trailed with this group 45 to 49. Today, he trails 46 to 48. My God, there's no good news in all of this, and it's why 6 states got moved closer to Republican wins than they were before the debate. So what effect does this have?
Well, obviously, Democrats in Congress are seeing the exact same things, and they respect Pope as much as anybody, probably more so. It's kind of like the Bible of Washington. And so I do think after the debate, there was a little bit of uncertainty. I know I shared it too. precisely because people have long already been saying that they know that Biden's too old, that he's too cognitively declined. The only people who didn't know that or who weren't saying that were people in the media and some Democrats, but the rest of the country was making clear that they already thought that. So I thought there was a chance that if they saw the debate, it would just confirm for them what they already thought, and it wouldn't actually move it. But I think the reaction you had,
I wish you guys could try this.
similar to what a lot of them had, which is like, yes,
I
like,
really
we already
do.
knew Biden was, in cognitive
I
decline,
mean,
but
they're
seeing it in that to that
perfectly
degree,
cooked,
on a
man.
stage that important,
A nice sear to the top of them.
so extreme that it is kind of shocking to see the sitting president just like looking like a docile, confused, fragile, senile old man. That's
Like a Muppet?
It's scary. It's unpleasant. And yet, it is true that the polling numbers haven't moved much. There's not like a cataclysmic drop for Biden. But in these close races, you don't need that. And also, I think what's so notable is like usually, even in the races where Democrats have won, or lost, like in 2016, they still won the popular vote because there's so many votes in blue states like New York and California. To see Biden Trump ahead, not just on the electoral vote, but on the popular vote, is extremely alarming for Democrats. And the other thing I think is so interesting, Megan, is that this again shows the big, huge gap between the elite class and media and the ordinary voters, which is one of the main gospels about Donald Trump is that he's a racist, he's a white nationalist, he hates black people, he hates Latino people. This is what the media's been saying ever since he came down that escalator. And yet, more and more non-white voters are migrating to the Democratic Party, either to the Republican Party or just not voting at all. And if the Democrats don't have massive numbers of black and Latino voters, which clearly they do not, it is extremely difficult to see how they can win. And then as far as young voters are concerned, I do actually think that Biden supports steadfast support for arming Israel, for financing Israel's war, for standing by Israel in the war in Gaza. Young people overwhelmingly do not like that war. I think that has also created a lot of problems for Biden in terms of young people as well. And so when you look at it from those demographic categories that you just described,
I crushed the shit out of
so valuable that it's not actually surprising why Democrats really are getting as desperate as they're obviously getting.
Yesterday we talked about James Clyburn and how important he is because so far the Congressional Black Caucus has been the one very reliably pro-Biden group in the Congress. And they have been in the wake of the debate as well. And we played the following soundbite when he emerged from that House Democrats meeting. It was very strange. But here's what he said at the time. Watch. It's yesterday.
You're riding with Biden. You're riding with Biden. You're riding with Biden. We are riding with Biden. You're riding with Biden. Yes, I am. Riding with Biden. Riding with Biden. Riding with Biden. You feel like you're focused on 2025, but you're riding with Biden.
Okay, and just in case you didn't catch that, National Campaign Co-Chair for the re-election of Joe Biden. But he had earlier said we'd be open to Kamala if the president decides not to run, and people took that as, whoa, he's telegraphing Kamala's good. But then yesterday it was riding with Biden. And
so good.
Now this is breaking point from the Washington Post. Representative James Clyburn asked by Jacqueline Alamany whether Joe Biden's decision to remain the nominee is final. The response was, quote, I have no idea. You need to ask him. Again, what we're seeing here is a little wiggle room from everybody, right? Just a little bit more wiggle room. Like, I don't know if it's final. Nancy Pelosi, he needs to decide. He already decided. He needs to decide. Blumenthal, he really needs to make a decision soon. But I support him. This just happened. Yet another congressman, Democrat, Representative Pat Ryan of New York, came out and said he needs to step aside for the good of the country. It's the same language you've heard from the 11 or so others who are behind the scenes and publicly said he should.
Really good, man. Wow.
Existential threat to democracy. Our duty to put forth the strongest candidate. Joe Biden's a patriot, but he's no longer the best candidate to beat Trump. But our country he should go. Blah 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 blah. Bit by bit. This is Wednesday, right? We still have Thursday. Tomorrow's a presser. And at the same time all this is happening, Glenn, we're getting leaks, more and more leaks about the doctors who have visited the White House, the neurological condition of the president. And then there was this ditty on NBC. We had a doctor on Bredesen who I like, by the way, I think is a very pro-Biden person, who was basically saying this is about wisdom versus the brashness of inexperience. Okay, here is a neurologist who appeared on MSNBC yesterday and saw it very different. Listen.
See him 20 times a day in clinic. He has just the classic features of neurodegeneration. Lots of arm swings, standing up lordically. You notice when he turns, it's kind of end block turning. It's not a quick turn. That's one of the hallmarks of Parkinson's is rigidity and bradykinesia, slow movement. And he has that hallmark, especially with the low voice, instead of the full hypophonia. A small, monotone voice like this over time is a hallmark of Parkinsonism. I could have diagnosed him from across the mall, like shuffling gait, we call that, so little steps. Lots of arm swing from the rigidity. When we walk, we have a nice cadence, and you may see him when he swing his arms. And end block turning, meaning he kind of pivots around his foot. If you said, hey, President Biden, he wouldn't go like this. His motor symptoms are degenerating. He has Parkinsonism. That is a fact.
Meaning with symptoms of Parkinson's. He wasn't trying to diagnose it, but he was saying it'd be easy to if I were asked to.
Okay, guys. I'm done stuffing my face for the time being. Thank you for joining me for this meal. I will probably have a snack one up at some point in time later. But thank you. Alright, guys.
Summer used to mean
Take it easy, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.